يعني sharing the one who's يعني the PDF is coming from the university which has the highlight, or this one is okay?
Okay. I think we should start. There are two ways. Whichever is easy for you, I will be okay. But I'll prefer, because this is the first. Do you have 1 or 2 hours?
Okay.
Yeah. So we will start reading it, and
طيب.
I'll just be explaining you like a student, and in the
Okay.
next meeting I'll ask you different questions, difficult questions, just like a supervisor. So this is I will read, and you have to understand, and you have to ask me question anywhere where you find yourself a question in mind.
Okay.
Okay, just let me. Okay, it's recording. Okay. So, first of all, let me read the abstract of this thesis for you. And it says that our topic is basically the impact of privatization on employees. Whenever the word impact is used, it means we want to understand the perceptions, or we want to gauge the thinking of employees. And those employees are working in a company, which is National Water Company. So first of all, the first thing that should come into our mind is that this is a case study, right, brother? And the case study approach, case study method is included in the qualitative research method. Like, so first of all, our study, from the topic we can understand, or we can make a guess that this would be a qualitative study, because we are going to observe, or we are going to investigate a case, and we are going
Uh-huh.
to gauge, and we are going to measure the perceptions. So that's the
Yes.
reason we have also used some questions, and dominantly we have used the interview technique. So qualitative study and the data collection method, or the data collection technique, was the interviews. And then we will, in coming chapters, we will discuss about how we treated those interviews. So brother, what is the abstract? The main idea of our study is that this study investigated the impacts of privatization and employees' subjective experience of organizational change. So subjective experience also gives us an indication that this is a qualitative study. This, like, the reader would guess that, okay, I am going to read this thesis, so this is going to be qualitative work, not quantitative. So that's why subjective experience is there. Okay. Then the second point, study also I highlighted how perceptions of change differed across levels of organization, and figured out the impacts of privatization on national water. Then it says that we also studied the perceptions of different people of different designation in that organization, which was KSA. Then says the change included a move into a new organizational structure, downsizing of the staff, job satisfaction, reduction in job facilities, employee training, employee motivation, performance and compensation system, etc., working hours, and implementation of multidisciplinary teams. So these are all actually our findings, basically. Like, these are all the suggestions which were made by the employees of different levels. So in a nutshell, or in short, we can say these are the recommendation by the employees. And how did we get those recommendations? After doing the qualitative interviews. So are you making links in your mind, brother?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So these are just, you have to make links. Then says the three broad categories of issues were identified. So when we investigated the employees, we came to know that three types of issues or the problems or the areas were identified, and we have mentioned them in the data
Yeah,
analysis chapter.
in the coding system,
Yeah,
which is divided to three. Yes.
exactly. So there were the categories related to attitudes or emotions, then process of change, how change should be implemented, and another category was what kind of outcome issues also. So these were the basically the three
And
categories.
also we said here, when we talk about the change process issue, it is the issue related to the employee, not the company or the business by itself.
Exactly, exactly. Then in the second passage, it says the participants of the study, means they are our target group, our
Yes.
target population,
Yeah.
or you can say they are the sample, the focus group.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this,
Actually, the population is more wider than the sample, because the population, it's all the employee who affected by the privatizations. But
exact,
the sample, it's the NWC company employee.
exactly. And if someone asks, or if they ask you in the meeting, like
Yes.
why you why
Yeah,
you
this is the most important thing. What do you expect the question which will become?
like they will say that why did you select the sample, or why do we select the sample from only one company? The reason is, or the justification from the theory is, that first of all, this was a case study. So we have to engage the participants from a company because it's a case study. So we have taken the case of NWC, and then because this is a academic study, we do not have so much time. So we have time scarcity, we have limited budget,
Course.
yeah,
Yeah.
cost, and because of the constraints of time, cost, expertise, that's why we selected the samples from this particular company, and we can generalize its results on all the employees who are working in similar companies or similar organizations. So it says the participants of the studies, who are participants, were they were the managers, managerial level. First one, like in the above we were saying the hierarchical levels, so it's also saying hierarchy, like people having the managerial post, then supervisory level people, mean mid level manager you can say, and non-supervisory is a more academic word for the people who are working on lower staff, like office boys or office assistants,
Administrations.
administration employees. So these are the third level hierarchy,
Yeah.
and all of them
Here we talk about the hierarchy, because
hierarchy,
yeah,
exactly,
in the top is the manager, in the middle is the supervisor, and uh, it's a word that we describe, not describe the people by itself. We describe their situation in the hierarchy.
exactly. And then it says, for the purpose of data collection, qualitative method of investigation was employed, and which method of interviews. Like there are many other methods also in qualitative, like there can be ethnographic, there can be like case studies, there can be observation, but we employed interviews, and our interview which had and our size of the participants, there were 31 employees who were working in NWC, and we investigated about the positive and negative aspects of change. Because why? our topic says the our topic says impact of privatization on employees. So what the what is the change, what change they experience due to privatization before and after. So we are ultimately talking about the change before and after the privatization. Are you getting the links, brother?
Yes, yes.
Hmm. Okay. And then it says a total of 12 themes were identified from after our from our interviews, three categories, and total there were 12 themes, and we divided them into three categories as I explained earlier. It says a total of 12 themes were identified from content coding. I will explain about this is telling about treatment with the interviews. Thematic analysis, we will explain it in the chapter. Content coding, including emotional responses, responses related to attitude towards the change, and about the management of the change process, and about the change outcome. Basically, these are all the same three categories of issues we discussed earlier. Then in the abstract says that this is about the finding. From this line, we are going to describe about the finding from this line where my cursor is. It says that supervisory and non-supervisory staff referred more to conflict and division, and expressed more negative attitude toward the change than did the managers or executives. So the somewhere in the literature the word executives is generally used, somewhere managers is the use. So we have incorporated them, or these are interchangeable words. So the two categories.
So could we say executive it's equal to manager?
Yeah, in the context of our studies, or in the context of related literature, studies of related, these words are interchangeable. These words are used as alternate. So executives were more positive about the change, like they were more optimistic that change will bring something good, like due to training. If you change the training method, if you increase the compensation, if you give them after job benefits, etc. We will explain in the analysis section in detail. So they were more positive. However, the middle level manager, like supervisor and non-supervisor, the lower level staff, they were having negative attitude. So this is actually our finding, that in the case of NWC, if the supervisor or the coordinator ask in the meeting that you developed three categories, so what was the difference? So we can say the higher level employees, they showed a positive attitude towards privatization, but the middle and the lower level staff, they showed negative attitude, negative behavior, negative response towards the change, means privatization. They were not in favor of privatization in other way. Are you getting it, brother?
Yes. So uh, as a summary for this one,
Hmm.
uh, we could say the high level, uh, they are not willing with this change.
Who, the high level people?
The low level, I mean the high level is okay.
Yes, yes, it's okay, it's in the favor of change.
Okay, but the low level people, they are not.
Yeah, they are not comfortable with the change. Yeah. And then it says, finally, compared to other staff, managerial level employees concentrated more on participation in change process and communication about the change. Now it says that the high level managers or the executives, they are favorable to the change, and they are saying that the participation, they are saying that the people should participate in the change because they are in the favor of change. So they are saying a participation and communication, they are the two important factors which should be incorporated when you incorporate privatization or when you incorporate the change process. There should be proper participation from all the employees, and there should be a proper communication, mean dissemination of information from lower, from higher to the lower staff. Proper communication before changing your organization from government sector to private sector. Okay, brother, this is making sense in your mind? Good, good, good.
Yes, yes,
Then these are, from this passage, this is a limitation or shortcoming. Every good study should report its limitations, because no study is perfect. When sometimes they ask, even
yes.
in my proposal defense in the PhD, they ask me, you are studying, you are doing your PhD on scholarship, and very few people in Pakistan gain this scholarship, so still you are saying your study has limitation. How? Like they were trying to pressurize, or they try to, you know they try to judge you. So uh, if your study is very good, even it's very good, still it has limitations. Like first of all, the biggest limitation with this study or with any study is due to its geographical boundaries. This study is incorporated in NWA only. So this can be the limitation. Limitations mean some drawbacks, some limitations in your study. Do you have the idea of limitation before?
Yes.
You have. Oh, that's good. Then that's good. Then that's good. Okay.
The I know the limitation is that point or items or whatever they are make a limit through your study. And
Yeah.
as we know, you can't like when you try to study privatizations, you can't study it in all aspects. You
Yes.
just
Yes.
you know you understand me.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's better if you tell me, because in the meeting, the more you participate, the more it is beneficial for us. That's why I will expect you to
Okay.
explain me more and more and more. Yeah. So simply
Yes,
the
no problem.
limitations, yes, they are the borderlines of your study. They are the borderlines. Okay, it says the keeping in view the limitations of the cross-section study, and yeah, here the word cross-section study. This is also important. They also ask about this. Do you know the difference between cross-section and longitudinal studies, brother?
The,
Yeah, let me
no.
tell you. Okay, keeping in view the limitations of cross-section study. So they can say why cross-section, and before we need to understand what is cross-section study. Cross-section study, brother, means when you collect data at one point of time. At one point of time means, like, we we wrote the questions on the interview, and we asked those questions and got the responses once only. It's not like we ask the questions from the employees of NWC on in the year 2020, and in the next year again, when we ask the same question from the same company, from the same employees, then it becomes longitudinal studies. So cross-sectional study is conducted when we have limited resources, we have limited time, then cross-section study is conducted. And 99% of the academic studies, they are always cross-section. You collect data at one point of time. You do not go again to the same employee and collect the same data. No. At one point of time, you collect data once only from one person. And
Mhm.
if they ask how this is different from the longitudinal studies, because these are the two types. So the longitudinal study is opposite of cross section, where you collect data at one point of time, and then in next year or after 6 years you go to the same person again and you collect the same data, and then you see the difference between his responses. But this is
And that one called what?
that is
The
called
opposite of
longitudinal studies.
longitudinal.
Hmm, hmm. So cross section is when you collect data once only.
Okay.
Okay, then say keeping in view the limitations of our cross section study, this research examines the organizational change and impact of privatization at one point of time in the organization. Means we collected the data once. We will not
Okay.
go again and collect the same data. We will not do this. This is not the purpose of cross-section study.
Okay.
Then says perception of change may change over time, and other identities like professional identity may influence the perceptions or may influence the response. So this is a limitation. How this is a limitation? If we, let's suppose we go again and collect the same data, we may see that managers are also not happy with the change. It can happen. So this is a limitation. Are you getting why this is a limitation?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is a limitation. Then it, the last passage in our abstract, this one where my cursor, it is talking about the future implications or the recommendations. It says the findings, these findings suggest that change agents should consider the need of different organizational groups in order to achieve effective and successful organizational changes. Here the word change agents means, I have used this word change agent because this is a common, this is an accepted word. Change agent means the policy makers or the CEOs who implement the policies, who formulate and implement the policies. These are the change agents. You know, the stakeholders of NWC who have the power and authority to implement privatization or who have the authority to implement the changes. So this is a
Mm-hmm.
suggestion for them. This is a recommendation that change agents should consider the need of different organizational groups in order to achieve effective and successful organizational change. Means before privatization, the executives should consider the all the hierarchical staff in its organization. This is what it is saying. Are you getting it? Then it says this study clearly shows that, it should be shows, it was like a mistake for grammatical mistake maybe by me. This study clearly shows the impact of privatization and organizational change based on various themes which we have developed and we talked about earlier and we talk later in the coming chapters. Then these are some keywords, and if we go down, these are our table of contents. We can see them from their numbering and page number. Let's go.
Brother,
Hmm.
brother, just I will send you I will send you just a minute. I want to you can't minimize. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Please do.
Just I want to send you uh, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Just could you check your email? I want to send you the the Word file that I have changed, and
Okay,
because the line it might be. Could you just give me a minute?
no problem. Okay, I am just opening my email. You can share with me. Yeah. Did you send the email, brother?
I will send it right now. Just a second, please.
Okay, okay. Take your time. No problem. I have
طيب
plenty
شكرا.
of time. No problem. This is
يا
the
حبيبي,
most
thank you so
important.
much. Thank you.
Till the 17th, these meetings are more important, brother.
يا حبيبي. Thank you so much. Thank you. You are so kind. والله العظيم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا
जी माँ जी खाना हाँ जी बना दो लेकिन मैं मीटिंग तो फ्री हो के ना फिर इंशाल्लाह खा लेंगे अच्छा शक्कर ना मुझे करेले का ज़्यादा पसंद हाँ सालन मैं गर्म कर लांगे रोटी ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਹੀ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਜੀ ਮਾਜੇ ਦਵਾਈ ਨਾਲ ਨਾ ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਦੀ ਵਜ੍ਹਾ ਨਾਲ ਨਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਇੱਕ ਬਣਾ ਦੋ ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਲੇਕਿਨ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਵਰਦੇ ਕਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੱਕ ਗਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋ ਜਾ ਉਹ ਨੀਂਦ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੁਣ ਪਤਾ ਨੀਂਦ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਜਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਦੁੱਖ ਬਣਾ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਮੈਡੀਸਨ ਖਾ ਮਾਜੂ ਤੇ ਕਿਉਂ 8 ਵਜੇ ਨਾਲ ਖਾ ਲਈ ਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਨਾ ਉਹ 2-3 ਕੇ अच्छा बस दे दो हाँ एक एक केला दे दो ते नाल मेडिसिन में खा ठीक है मां क्योंकि मेडिसिन ने 2-3 घंटे असर उस तो बाद सही नींद आना शुरू yeah but did you
Yes, brother. Could you check your email and please open that one?
okay let me see my email is open I'm refreshing it let me see it's sent from you yeah I received it on my mobile
Yeah.
but okay, yeah I received it okay brother your email is here now tell me
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Could we read from this one because it's the line it's a little bit more clear and then
Okay we want to read from this file right
yeah, because it's the line it's a little bit clear for me because I have some.
okay you have made some changes according to your own in your own style
Yes, that will be يعني a little bit helpful for me.
yeah why not
شكرا brother, شكرا.
sure. Yes. Okay then let me close the previous one okay
Okay. I write some question here about
mm-hmm.
the abstract.
Mm-hmm.
Do you open that?
Yeah I'm just opening it and let me share it with you in a moment okay then screen share this one I hope you
Yeah,
can
if you
see
go
that
into the abstract.
okay
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, if you go to the abstract.
Just give me a minute. Just give me one
Yeah,
minute.
take an hour, not a minute.
आज वो मैं देख रहा हूँ Actually, doctor has suggested me to take those medicines on time. So
Oh,
yeah, maybe I will forget otherwise. So I just want
yeah, you have to. Yes, that's.
because I cannot afford to be, more fever these days
Uh-huh.
because things will be so much complicated otherwise.
Oh, sorry for that. How is the weather right now in Pakistan?
Weather, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really hot. It's really hot here.
Oh,
And I think it would be similar in Saudi also.
oh, really?
Uh,
We have
hmm.
especially last week. It was like we are in oven, not
Hmm. And in
uh,
which city you are living, brother Naif?
in Riyadh, brother.
Oh, in Riyadh.
Yeah, brother. If you're going to the abstract, do you finished or not yet?
Yeah, I'm about to finish in a moment.
Good.
This one is the last tablet.
Oh, how many tablets you have to take?
But the doctor have gave me uh, one, two, three,
Oh,
and these are four types. Different tablets. I don't know why he gave me all those. I said, okay, this is not my field. So what can I say? I have to just follow his prescription.
yes.
Maybe he was also worried. He wanted to make me healthy, so fast. I don't know. He gave me so much tablet. Yeah, Shafi.
Yeah. If you do you finished?
I am finished now, brother. Yes.
Okay. If you go into the abstract, one, two, three, four, five, six, the seventh line, it's called performance, conception, system work hours, and implementation of multidisciplinary team.
Uh, I'm in the abstract, and now please tell me.
Uh, do you remember when we talk about this lecture review we have covered, which is the performance, conception? It was in the sixth line from the top.
So six lines from the top.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yes. The aspects explored included introduction of new organization. This one. From this one.
No. Go down until uh, yes, and the implementation of multidisciplinary team.
Hmm, then data collection. There are certain limitations. Okay. Yes, and this is the last passage. The study demonstrates the impact of privatization. Here, brother.
Yes, brother. I have a question, but that question it might be related to يعني related to the discussion finding, which is my question is how we identify the three categories: emotion and attitude, change cases issue, and outcome issue.
Mhm. How we identified these three? Brother, this is something where when we conducted the interviews, like me and you are sitting, to be very honest, in the realistic sense, we didn't go to so many people and extract those responses.
Okay.
This should be clear in your and in my mind because we are the students.
Yes.
But how can we conduct these three or these four categories when we uh, when I read different research papers and theses related to the privatization and related to the change process? In almost all of the studies, various themes were developed again and again and again in different countries. in the context of Saudi Arab, in Egypt, and even in some Western countries, the studies related to privatization, they developed these types of themes. Almost some are similar. So that's why we incorporated these three themes. It was not like here I went to the Pakistani people in a company, like in a water company in Pakistan, and then in realistic sense it was not happened.
Uh-huh.
And normally in qualitative studies like yours, people do not take so much stress while going to people and developing themes. But yes, these themes are all present in the literature, and we also have the references for those themes, and we have the references of the studies where such similar themes were developed. And how these themes are developed, this is a process which is called thematic analysis. How we develop the theme, this is a very very pertinent question, uh, which is always asked. So even before going to the analysis section, let me respond to this. We record, like, they have a issue about the volunteer, so I will also cover that issue with this question, and we will repeat it when we go to the analysis or the analysis, data analysis section. We have to tell them that I was the researcher, like you. I was the researcher, and I had a company of a volunteer. The volunteer was, you can nominate me also. You can say he's Mr. Faraz, he's doing his PhD. So he was a volunteer, as a he participated in my studies as a volunteer. Because if they say that how can he justify he is a volunteer, or what is the criteria, then you can say he is a PhD, he is doing his PhD, he is conducting qualitative studies, so he is good in this approach. So that's because volunteer has to be expert in that, expert in conducting the interview. That's the volunteer means in the academic sense or in the research sense. So we wrote the answer of the respondents, answer of the interviews, and then we transcribed them. Transcription is a process before developing the three categories of themes. Transcription is a process where we read the answers again and again. We read the answer of the respondents, and then we try to extract the words which are similar or which are used again and again. Are you getting me?
Yes. Can I summarize the answer for this one?
Please, please.
If they ask about this kind of thing, I will say, um, when I finished the questionnaire and the interview, and I write everything in the paper, and I read everything, um, in that day I could divided the answer to three parts as an answer, which is be the first be under the emotional, and what is it? Yeah, yeah, the category emotional attitude, and the other was talking about the process issues, and the third one was the outcomes issues.
Yes, yes. So this is the way how we developed. So
Tamam.
this is actually the duty of the researcher. We read those answers again and again, and then we separated the similar words, similar responses, and on the basis of those, we developed that these three types of issues are actually they are covering the whole of our interview discussions. It is just like, brother, the interview answer was a population, and the
Aha.
theme was the sample which represents the whole population.
Tamam. Tamam.
Tamam? Good.
Tamam. And yeah, this is the only things about the abstract, and I
Yeah.
will be more than happy if you can ask me question to answer, or make it this one at the last one,
Yeah. Now you want me to ask you different questions regarding the thesis?
regarding the abstract.
Okay, 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 okay. Regarding the abstract, okay, brother. I will ask you a few questions, and you have to. Okay, brother. Brother Knife, what is the type of your study?
My type of study was investigating the outcome from the privatization on their employee, and it was an qualitative study,
Hmm.
and uh,
Hmm.
could you repeat your action question?
Yeah, I am asking, brother. Please tell me what is the type of your study. You are going
My
right. You are going in right direction.
Right. And it was a quantitative research, a qualitative research method, and it was investigate the impact of privatization policies in employee, which is explore the impact on their employee when the big company or the business is transferred from the public owner to the private owner, and 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 how is it's come on the employee.
Good, good. And what is the approach you use for this qualitative study? You can also ask me to explain question in easy words if you don't understand. This is our first time, so no problem, brother.
Mhm.
So what
Yes.
approach you employed for conducting this qualitative study you just explained?
Uh, First of all, research was dependent on the qualitative method,
Mm-hmm.
which is take a case study of
Yes.
NWC, which is the National Water Company.
Hmm.
Uh, this company was so common in my country that has a problem with their employee, especially with that time when they transfer from the public to the private.
Hmm. So you employed the case study method, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. And who are your participants? And okay, let me elaborate in a more research way. So what is your focus group? Sometimes they use the word focus group rather than population or sample also. So what is your focus group and what is your target population? These are the same things. If they ask you
Okay.
what is your target population or what is the focus group or simply who are the participants in your studies, please tell
First
me.
of all, as we know, privatizations is so common in recent years in the world, and as a researcher and as a student, I have many of limitations in our researches, which is um, the time and the budget and many of limitations that will keep us in a circle that we can't go over it, which
Hmm.
is we choose the NWC company,
Hmm.
and because the NCD company is that company also affected by privatization.
Hmm.
Also, we choose a sample of them because they will present the most
Hmm.
data that we need to describe the issue they have.
Okay. And what was the sample size you studied?
Uh, it was an it's called an symbol size symbol. It was an confidence sample, which
Hmm.
is a sample that available available in front of the researcher,
Hmm.
which is yes, go ahead.
Yeah, what is actually the sample size? What is the number of party? How
It's
many? Hmm.
okay. It was 31.
Hmm.
Actually, it was. This is from with me. Actually, it was more than 31.
Hmm.
It was about 30, 37 or 36.
Hmm.
But we, we set to 31 because some of them they don't participate or full participate, and
Good,
some of
good.
them they don't fill the questionnaire as as a professional. They just make funny things, and they just
Yeah.
kick, and they leave some question without answer, and
Hmm.
we just
Eliminated
yeah.
them or removed them. Yeah, fair
Yes.
enough, fair enough. And okay, fair enough, brother. Good. And what is the data collection technique basically? You incorporated which technique to collect the data, to collect the
Okay.
responses?
Okay. First of all, I have a phone call with the person who is working in NWC, and I
Good.
told him that I want to conduct my research in NWC in that company, and I want to say thank you for him because he was so cooperate with me. He provide a lots of support, and he gave me access to NWC employee,
Allah,
and
Allah.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
please carry on. Going very good. Hmm.
yeah, and we use the interview uh,
Hmm.
by it was facial interview, face to face, and it was at the same time we use a questionnaire
Hmm.
with many techniques in that questionnaire, including open close questions and Lerk scale question, and also the most, in my opinion, it's the most important things, was the open
Allah.
index question, which is explore. It's give the ability for the employee to explore their emotion more than by
Hmm.
answering yes or no, or you are happy or satisfied, or that skills.
Allah. And is there some difference between the responses of your participants?
Uh, yeah, it was, and to be honest, this is the most difficult. Yeah, and this is the most difficult things when you read answers, and when you read the same answer from the other participant, and you find it's far away, and he say different things than the other, and actually it's wide your pigeon about the cases,
Hmm. Hmm.
and uh, that was very difficult for me just to make the coding for the answer, and put uh, the numbers of the participate in the coding.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a good response. But however, my question was related to what was the difference in the responses? Because in the abstract we said X, Y were this to the chain,
Yes,
and this was this. So this is
yeah,
expected.
the
So can
height.
you? Mm-hmm.